Hello and welcome to Small Business Connections TV. We are in the company of greatness today. We have Bruce Billson.
I thought you were talking about Mark, Vivienne.
I'm starting with you, Bruce, and then Mark. Bruce Billson, who is the Ombudsman from a very, very large organisation that I'm not going to say. The graphic will arrive now. And Mark Stockwell, who is the Director of eInvoicing at the ATO. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here today.
Pleasure.
So tell me a little bit about the e-invoicing side of things, Mark.
Sure. E-invoicing is the new digital channel for business. So long have we been in the world of paradigm of paper, manually doing on a Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, you're doing those invoices. Well, we're going to take that away from you and give back time and importantly money, because it's going to be much more simpler. The complexity gets taken away. It's simply in your software, and doesn't matter who your trading partners might be, it's in their software as well. So simply you're moving that invoice digitally between your software and their software, and it takes literally that long.
Let's get excited. This
Let's
is
get
huge.
excited.
An e-invoice is 1/3 the cost of an old invoice. It's more secure. It streamlines a business process that, frankly, no one got into business thinking I'm going to be sending invoices.
Do you know there is a deliciousness though when you press send.
Well, and hoping the revenue comes, but with the invoicing, it enables earlier payment times.
Yeah.
It's part of that digitisation story that's been so vital to so many small and family businesses over COVID and into the future. Not only technology to connect with customers, to execute transactions, but to help you run a more efficient, frictionless back end of the business, which frankly isn't why people got into business, but it's vital, and you guys are doing some really leading work. Sharing e-invoicing is one of those tools.
Yeah, there's a lot of people say they're interested, but they're worried about the cost, or they're worried about how long it takes to set up. The beauty is that once we've had people go online and get set up, it's very quick, very simple, and they come back and say, well, that was mind-blowing for them, and so they're great champions then for other people to come on board.
Well, and the research is backing that up. I mean, we've had some of the accounting software, we've had some of the major enterprise level software providers surveying small businesses who were hesitant, but as Mark's pointed out, their hesitations weren't really justified by their experience, and now there's so much better place to handle that vital part of their business. So you're doing some good work there, Mark.
Yeah, and you mentioned speed, cash flow is king, as we know, and what we've already seen some of the early interventions that people are experiencing faster payments. So and the government's really leading by the fore there. We're actually paying in 5 days. So as an incentive for people to send us an e-invoice, we'll pay them in 5 days, but surely that's going to put pressure on the big end of town to say, well, if the government can do that, why can't I do that?
Well, and the government are doing that. They're saying, Vivienne, if you're part of this e-invoicing international standard called PEPOL, the government will pay your bills quicker as well. So you invited me to jump in to kind of interview, but not. I'm excited.
I love this. You're putting me out. You're getting me out of a job. I love this.
Is now the time, Mark, where we should let's make e-invoicing sexy? Is it too early? Is it too early?
Is it sexy?
Well, it could be. Is that our challenge to get people engaged?
I'll leave the acronym to you, but I think it is time. There's a slogan behind it's time. It's election time. It's time.
So what's the call to action? We want people to register, don't we?
Look, the first thing they need to do is speak to their software provider, and once they've spoken it, they'll soon know. About a third of people will already be ready to go. The software is ready. In about a month's time, we'll see the rest of the industry be largely ready from a software, and then you've got about a third of the community who's still not yet digitised, but they've got the choice now to come on board and either use the software that's in the market, or there's some free portals that are available out there, so they can see trial it as a first way of getting into digital trade, and so they can try that free of charge, and then once they like it, which I know they will, then they can look at some software and the whole business will be digitised. So
plugins on Xero, MyOb, Intuit, and there's enterprise providers like EAP and others, they also enable it. So time to get registered.
I was actually you stole my thunder.
Did I? I'm sorry about that, Vivienne.
But what I was going to ask is, we use Xero at our offices. What's the level of privacy that I can be afforded by using this particular software
Very
program?
good question. So you've been clued up by Bruce on that.
Oh, no, not at all. No, these are just the things churning.
So you're one of the Fortunate ones, you're ready to go, so you'll be able to register. You have to register into the Peppol network. Once you're there, it literally takes less than 5 minutes. Then you're ready to invoice. Now what it does in protection is that network is governed by the ATO. That's our sole role in the whole initiative. We look after that network. We make sure all what we call access points that connects you to the network are all fully accredited, have the highest level of security. And so through that you've got comfort and confidence that your data that you're sending to your trading partners in a very secure way. It's not susceptible to the hacking that we hear because there's no email involved. So you're taking away and protecting your business because you don't have the email for people to change the payment details and things like that. So that's why it is so much better than what we see today.
And the other thing too, Mark touched on it there, Vivienne, the ATO is not using this as a look-see kind of
and that's something that you need to really get clear.
Well, and I've been really clear calling that out because in some other countries it is part of the compliance, not here. The ATO is the nearest, neatest, correct entry to oversee the implementation of eInvoicing and the Peppol standard, but it's not connected to the tax collection activities, but that's something we've got to reassure people about, and it's
we are.
You're very clear about too.
100%. I mean, the ATO is involved because of our history, involved with large transformation for business, SuperStream, single touch payroll,
and you've got the eyeballs,
JobKeeper.
You've got businesses interacting with you.
We have. I mean, there's some fantastic, really big brands. So it's not just for small business at this end of the town. If small businesses are dealing with big large end of town traders, then they're also on board. We've got some fantastic, really large brand names that are about to launch and be announced, so that's going to be really exciting. And people will see it's not just for the government to do this. This is for business to make a difference to the way they do business.
And how is that going to help your role?
Well, it's one of those digital tools that we keep encouraging people to think about. I mean, I know with the businesses I've led and created, I never woke up in the morning thinking, oh, I'm busting to do a BAS. No. I'm busting to do that business admin. That's not what people get into business for. But it's a vital part. It's that working in your business to keep it going forward whilst you work on the business so it can achieve new possibilities. And to make that simpler, streamlined, digital tools can help that, so that the brilliance that you bring to the business is where your energy is focused on, not this stuff, which is important, but really, that's not why most people got into being a business owner or leader.
And why did you get involved in the Ombudsman department?
Well, it was interesting. I mean, I was in politics many years ago, and pleasingly, one of my achievements was to create the role because I felt government could benefit from a really plugged in, sleeves rolled up, field evidence motivated group that could feed into government policies and programs and make sure government was doing the best it could, landing effectively laws, policies and programs, realising that small businesses aren't just shrink-wrapped big businesses, that they're a group of people or an individual tackling all of the challenges, all of the compliance obligations and trying to create a livelihood for themselves and others, and that was the motivation around it. Also, Vivienne, disputes. When a small business gets in an arm wrestle with government or a big business, invariably it doesn't turn out well. But those disputes need to be resolved, and so we play a role, and this agency was created to help resolve disputes quickly, get a respectful outcome, but keep the relationship though, because you need to get business back to business, get those relationships right, solve the problem and get on with it. I suppose the third rationale was we need to celebrate small and family businesses, vital to our economy, the livelihoods that they create. We've really got to celebrate that. So part of what my organisation does is inform people about the great things that's happening in the small and family business community.
And I love what you're working, that arena that you're working in, because a lot of people don't recognise family business. It's just considered to be a small business. And there are a lot of different nuances that come with, family-run businesses. I think you alluded to something earlier today, which I absolutely adored, is, talking about cash flow issues as part of your pillar talk is the best contraception ever.
Absolutely.
And these are the sorts of things that we need to be mindful of, whether it's invoicing, whether it's cash flow issues, whether it's not getting along with certain family members but the businesses still have to run. There are so many things to be considered when starting and running businesses in the short and long term.
And the new challenges, family businesses have got succession planning, the family dynamics. you know that when the dining room table becomes the boardroom table, there's some particular challenges in that, and even in the area of tax, just personal expenditure, business expenditure, how you structure yourself, how decisions are made. And so, in creating the agency when I did some years ago, I put that in there because there's a unique set of challenges that if you're not alert to them, you could easily pass them by and not realise something you're doing just doesn't work for a family business structure.
100%, and that those insights are so vital, and bringing an awareness to it, I think, is going to make people feel like they're not alone.
Yeah.
And these are the things that people don't actually address. You put on I say you put your red lipstick on and you go out into the world, but there are lots of things that lie behind the red lipstick, and certainly the things that you've raised today have really made me sit up and listen and look at how your organisations combined can actually help people in small business. So that's coming from a personal perspective. I want to know from you smart fellas, what does the future hold for small business?
Well, we talked about it earlier today about some of the struggles. They're coming out of a really difficult time, but then I heard Bruce talking about, well, the opportunities there is fantastic, and we're seeing a lot of people use that ugly word of pivot, but they're going digital, they're looking at opportunities, and they're really starting to thrive. So I think even though there's some headwinds coming their way, I think there's a lot of good opportunities out there. Certainly from the HO perspective, we're really keen to support business as they come through those challenges. We just want them to engage with us. It's all we ask, and the earlier that engagement happens, the more we can help.
I mean, I'm so positive about the future. Even my blood group is positive.
Is it AB or just A?
Just A. I mean, so this is a renaissance in entrepreneurship happening quietly now. The number of businesses being formed, 2/3 of them being started by women. So there's a real drive there. We're seeing millennials thinking, about their careers and wanting to match purpose with profit and income. That's exciting. COVID's been horrendous for far too many small businesses, but it's also generated new problems to solve. And small businesses solve problems. They're agile, they're able to make decisions quickly, respond, delight customers in ways bigger businesses find harder with the layers of bureaucracy. So I'm upbeat about it, and I look back at the GFC, small businesses were about 44% of the private sector workforce. So, 2 out of 5 jobs, small and family business, but 2 out of 3 in the recovery came through small and family businesses. So, a disproportionate contribution to the upside coming out of a challenging time. I reckon we're on the cusp of that as well.
Yeah, and I'm incredibly excited by those statistics, but what comes with that as a small business owner is there's a real need for legislative change in order to support directors of these small businesses that aren't seen in this particular sector. In the large organisations, there are certainly a lot more things that have been set up to look after, whether it's sick leave, holiday pay, maternity leave, and certainly the women coming through, I'm hopeful are going to drive that legislative change moving forward.
Look, and that's part of what we do. We advocate for change, we find the evidence base, we tell the story, and we make real the life that you're describing, that you experience. Right now a lot of small business owners and leaders are really tired.
Yeah.
COVID, yes, of course, but the workforce impact is often your team, who are highly valued by small business owners and leaders. Their team have had to be isolated. They've lost staff. We know it's tough getting talent in the current market. Well, who does the extra yards? Who stays up late? Who keeps going? It's the proprietors. So whenever there's a gap there, the proprietors filling that gap, and you find working extraordinary hours doing all sorts of things, including things that some team members might usually do, but they're just not there because they've been in isolation or something else has happened. So, a big shout out to all of you. Thank you. Thank you for all that you're doing.
That's fantastic. I'll take that. Well, on that note, I could sit here and talk to you lovely gentlemen all afternoon, but thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights. It's been really, really wonderful to sit down with you and have a lovely chat. So we look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.